Hello, I'm April, and I'm the instructor for Understanding by Design, this online workshop. So now, hopefully, you have reviewed Stage 1 and Stage 2, and we're ready to look at Stage 3, Plan Learning Experiences. Stage 3 is going to tie in everything from Stage 1 and Stage 2 and get to the actual learning activities. So, let's get started. Okay, let's get started on stage 3, plan learning experiences. Let's take a look at the template. So with stage 3, now we're getting ready to plan the learning experiences. And to plan the experiences, there's an acronym that makes out the word where to. WHERETO, learning plan. And we're going to look at each letter and what that refers to for the learning plan. The important thing about stage 3 is that we want to tie in what we have planned in stage 1 and stage 2 for the curriculum. So where to learning plan? What teaching and learning experiences will equip students to engage with, develop, and demonstrate the desired understandings? Group each key teaching and learning activity with its appropriate where to location. Okay, so we start with W. Help the students know where the unit is going, what is expected. Help the teacher know where the students are coming from, prior knowledge and interests. So the first part of that W is where the unit is going. And in order to help define that, we're going to start with the goals, also known as SMART learning objective. And their SMART learning objectives, that's also an acronym: specific, measurable, attainable results, focused, and time focused. So you want these learning objectives again to map back to the goals that you defined in stage 1. The next part of the W of where to, relevance. What are the benefits to the students by completing this unit? How will they benefit from learning this material? So you want to start to think about that in terms of planning the actual learning activities. What benefits are going to come to the students for taking this unit? Is it just to pass the class or to pass a test? No, of course not. So you want to think it a little broader, think long-term goals, the big idea. Back to that again. How are the students going to benefit? Let's go back up a little bit. We're looking at now at diagnosis. How will you know what they know before the lesson and what they know after the lesson? So again, part of that W is where the students are coming from. And this is where you can list any kind of pre-test or any other activities you may decide to do that will help you get an understanding of your students, where they're at academically or in relation to the unit that you're teaching, if they're a beginner, expert, if they're a professional, whatever the unit is, where they fall in line as a whole, individually and also as a class. You want to have an idea of where most of your students are starting from, and also to hopefully tease out any misconceptions about the topic or the class, or maybe even the instructor, that may be blocking them, or could potentially block them from getting all the benefits out of the class. And also what they know after the lesson. So that would be any post assessments you decided to maybe compare to the pre assessments. Next, we're going to move to the H, hook and hold. So you want to hook all students and hold their interest. How will you hook and hold student interest? And for this, you want to, of course, be a little innovative depending on your target audience. You want to think of how the unit you're teaching can be relevant to them. Um, Maybe use some videos, use some role plays, use something to get them, maybe do an experiment, something that catches their attention to hook them. And then how do you transition that into material that will hold their interest after that? So maybe do if it's something related to science, you do an experiment that's either got a loud noise or some colors or something to get somebody's attention, and then you turn to them and maybe you had them predict what was going to happen, and now you can expand on that. Go back up a little bit, back to the hook and hold. The second part of that is technology. Nope, I missed past it. How will technology be used in the unit to hook your students and get them interested and engaged? So, of course, technology is always a great way to get attention, depending on your target audience. It may be a video, it may be a game, it may be something interactive that they can use, some software or program that you can teach. Again, keeping it relevant to your unit and to your big idea, but if possible, use technology. Next, we're going to move to the first E. Equip students, help them experience the key ideas and explore the issues. So, experience and explore. How will students uncover the meaning of the unit? And that's a great, want to highlight that word there, uncover the meaning of the unit. Sometimes when it comes to teaching, people get focused on the content that they have to cover, how much, you know, of the textbook they can get through, or standards that they have to meet. But in this, we're talking about uncovering the meaning of the unit. So not just on a surface level, but to for a deeper meaning. And again, back to that big idea, the ideas of transfer and understanding and meaning that we discussed in stage one and stage. So that's experience and explore. Now let's move down to the R of the where to. R, provide opportunities to rethink and revise their understandings and work. So part of understanding by design, it is an iterative design process, and you want to give students as many opportunities as possible to learn from their mistakes, or um, something maybe they didn't understand the first time, and to be able to go back and revise, or to at least be able to rethink about it, maybe do some journaling, think about how they could make a different choice or different problem solving techniques. So here you want to go ahead and list those learning activities that will allow the students to rethink, revise, and redefine, whether it's actually redoing a project, or again, maybe just doing some reflecting on other alternatives or options they could have used. Reflect and self-regulate. How will the students have time to improve their metacognition and self-regulation skills? So again, you want to give students opportunities to think about the concepts, the big concepts that are underlying the unit, give them a chance to make those connections to their life or to other material that they have learned, so that they can break it down and make connections in ways that will help them to remember it long term. Next is E, the second E of where to. Evaluate. Allow students to get formative feedback to improve their work. How will students get formative feedback so they can improve their work and move toward mastering the learning objectives? So again, when you're planning learning activities, you want to provide the opportunity, maybe a scaffolding type approach where they turn in part of an assignment, get feedback from instructor, and then continue on to the next section, or even just peer reviews where they can get some feedback that again informs the assignment or project or whatever it is, the learning activity that you're going to be using. Still, again, going back to those meaning and transfer goals in stage 1 and 2, you want to give them opportunities to make those connections and to revise. The T, let me slow down a little bit. Oh, missed it. Be tailored, personalized to the different needs, interests, and abilities of learners. So, tailored to differentiate learning. Differentiated learning is something that you hear somewhat often. How will the unit be organized to allow for a technology enhanced learning experience that uses differentiation, including adjusting content, processes, product, and learning environment based upon student readiness levels, styles, interests, and personal goals? So, go back up to the T. Again, differentiated learning, maybe using those assessments, the pre-assessments that were used to once you know where your students, where the class as a whole and individually where they're starting from. Maybe some may need a little, maybe need some other resources. Maybe some people are actually a little more advanced, and you need to come up with some activities to keep them engaged or to expand your original lesson. This is how you want to think about, just give yourself options to differentiate it. If you think of this beforehand, then once you're in the unit, you'll already have some options laid out. And lastly, the, oh, there's T. O, organized using technology. How will your unit be organized to develop a technologically enhanced learning environment that is learner centered, authentic, includes creativity, higher order skills, and habits of mind, assesses student